What's happening, friends? Welcome to Podcast Unlocked, episode 391 for April 30th, 2019. Coming up on the show this week, we'll talk about the pop culture weekend that was. But more importantly, in Xbox news, we've got Games with Gold for May, some new games getting added to Game Pass for May, the release date and cover athlete for Madden NFL 20, some BlizzCon news, the top-selling games of March, and more coming up on Podcast Unlocked.
Podcast Unlocked.
What's happening, friends? Ryan McCaffrey with you alongside Brandon Tyrell.
Hello. It's a little skeleton crew today.
Yeah, it's just us. Just the two-man. It's like a morning radio show.
Yeah.
Just
what's happening, Ryan?
like Bean and Stalk in the morning.
Bean and Stalk.
Jack is out, and so is Giant.
Sully and the Yeti, only on IGN Radio.
Exactly.
Coming at you every morning.
Coming at you
6
mornings.
a.m.
Yeah. For your drive time entertainment.
You have a good radio voice, man.
It's the calling that I never answered.
Yeah, shock jocks. It's a little light, just intimate one-on-one convo about Xbox.
I think about that sometimes because I did like a semester of college radio and always regretted not doing more because it was fun. I don't know. I actually don't even.
Were you actually like back? Were you on the mic at like 2 a.m, or were you like that guy who just pulled records and stuff?
Not like I did. I had a couple of air shifts, but that was about. It was weird. Like you were supposed to like basically have to earn your way on the air by like kind of sort of apprenticing, as it were, and then eventually. And I think I was just annoyed at having to do the legwork,
do the actual work.
And so but then the first day, I was supposed to just be there helping, and the hosts didn't show up.
Oh.
So they threw me on the air.
It is college.
Yeah. So there may be a tape at I don't remember the whatever the AM. It's not the call sign. It's the frequency.
The frequency number. Yeah.
But it was the Blaze.
The
Blaze at ASU radio, which probably had a signal strong enough to go like just to campus.
Yeah.
And no further than that.
Slightly outside school property.
But, yeah, there may be a tape of me somewhere in existence that no one has.
Fire up your morning with the Blaze.
Yeah. Light it up. What's up, Sun Devils?
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness.
Well, that makes sense. Okay, let's blaze up some Xbox news.
Yeah, if I guess we can. No, but we got Destin down in Los Angeles at a Borderlands 3 event.
Right.
So if you're listening, I don't know what day you're listening, but Wednesday, tune into IGN. Destin is going to be live streaming Borderlands 3 from the Borderlands 3 event. We're also carrying the main presentation from Gearbox here on IGN, along with a pre-show. So a whole fun day
fanfare lead up,
of Borderlands 3. So that's going to be fun. And then Miranda is traveling back from Japan. She was in her happy place in Japan. Her pictures from the Pokemon Cafe.
Oh, are we allowed to talk about what she was doing out there?
I have no idea, but I know she posted the Pokemon Cafe pictures on Twitter. So.
Okay, so she really was in her happy place.
Yeah, yeah, I believe it. So she is not with us this morning. So, and everybody else is either stuck in traffic. There was a bad accident on the bridge.
Yeah.
Or is just crazy busy because guess what? We're T-5 weeks from the Electronic Entertainment Expo 2019 edition.
Oh, God.
So you're stuck with Brandon and I. This is it. It's just
I'd like to think of it as you get more helpings of what you really love.
Right. It's just the steak and potatoes.
We're the two scoops in the brand.
Right. There you go.
What a terrible analogy.
Yeah. And compounding it this is probably the lightest Xbox news week in recent memory.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of interesting stuff to talk about. So we're not going to talk spoilers for but what a pop culture weekend that was.
Oh my God. Like in a 4-day span, you had some of the biggest entertainment properties like popping off with their biggest entries. Like, obviously Game of Thrones wasn't the season end, but it was something that people
major payoff
had been building up to for 8 years.
Yeah.
And then Marvel, drops the final movie in their 10-year cycle. And then take it a step further. Later this year, Star Wars Episode 9 comes out, bringing the Skywalker saga to a close.
Yeah.
Think about how long it's going to be before we get another entertainment year like 2019.
That's true. I mean, Star Wars will go on just as Marvel will.
Oh, they'll do a ton of spin-offs and all that. But this is like the core. This is the core Skywalker saga.
Right. And that's the point I was going to make is that, and I'm not comparing them. I'm not saying one is better, but, Marvel, 22 movies, 11 years paying off with Endgame. A little slower burn for Star Wars, but 40 years, 40 years worth of storytelling coming to an end with Episode 9 before they venture off with Rian Johnson's trilogy and The Mandalorian. And all the various forks and branches that will come off of Star Wars moving forward.
Am I misremembering? I thought I read somewhere that the showrunners for Game of Thrones, D.B. Weiss and David Benioff, were talking about doing something Star Wars related.
Oh, that's right. No, you're 100% right.
Okay.
They're the ones I was forgetting.
Yeah,
there was Rian Johnson and them.
They were talking about, I think
it's a trilogy,
getting their own trilogy.
Right?
Yeah, good.
Yeah. No,
I'm always nervous when I'm
Thank you for remembering that because I couldn't remember. And then The Mandalorian with of course Jon Favreau.
Yeah, and Pedro Pascal.
Yes.
Who also in Game of Thrones. Oh my God, it's all coming together.
Good stuff. Anyway, real quick before we get rolling. I like that you just looked at the notes.
Yeah, I just read the next bullet point. Okay.
We can't forget the real, true one pop culture moment to rule them all from the last week.
The biggest story of the week.
And it is video game related. And it is the first official trailer for the Sonic the Hedgehog movie.
I haven't watched this yet.
Oh, what? Oh, okay. Well, you're going to watch it right now.
Oh my God, are we going? No, I don't. Okay, all right.
You got to. I mean, if anyone out there hasn't watched it yet, pause this right now and go to YouTube and just go watch the Sonic the Hedgehog.
Here's the thing: is I went to IGN.com.
We're going to do your live reactions to it.
Little
right
website, and I saw the picture in our decks. Right, the
promotional image,
cover image on the front of the page. And I saw the picture of Sonic the Hedgehog, and I immediately thought of those fish in the bottom of the sea that have a mouthful of human teeth that should not exist. It's like an accident of God.
Okay, so try to keep this kind of near the mic.
Okay.
I want to hear your reactions to this because
Sorry.
This is so good. This is 2 minutes and 47 seconds. Here goes Brandon.
Sorry for audio quality. All right. We open on a country road. 760 miles an hour. Dude, is that...
I'm watching your face right now.
Is that Cyclops?
Yeah, it's him.
Oh my God. I'm gonna get nausea just watching this. Oh, he's got little hands.
Wait for it. Wait for it.
Oh my God, what is that face? Oh, he broke sound barriers.
An energy surge.
What? Gangster's Paradise?
Yes.
Someone who can figure out exactly what we're dealing with. You're not suggesting.
You know, and someone said, we're going to marry Sonic and Coolio. Who is that villain? Oh my God, is that...
I'm wrong. I'm in charge.
Yeah, it's a full ham Jim Carrey performance. He's going ham.
I don't even know what to say.
The disparity between us is too vast to quantify. Agent Stone. The doctor thinks you're basic.
Listen, I don't know if you realize.
I'm sorry, Major.
Okay, so this is a comedy.
Nobody cares.
I have no... I'm more excited for this now than I was.
Meow. Oh, come on.
Oh, this is awful.
Now I want answers. Basically, it looks like I'm going to have to save your planet.
Oh, Sonic.
Hopefully Coolio won't sue us for this podcast.
Yeah. This episode will get taken down for sure.
No, but thank you for asking.
Gee, what is going on?
Whatever this creature is, our job is to secure it.
Okay, so the only way this works is if...
See what makes it tick.
I imagine you have to watch this totally blasted out of your mind, right? Like, that's the only way this movie works.
You're not the first to suggest that.
Has a Genesis, the tagline. Oh, it's so punny.
Look at this. I took 9 million steps today.
All right, it seems slightly self-aware, which I appreciate. I can't get down on that Coolio track, though.
Stay in there and be quiet. How much longer? I can't breathe in here.
He's in a bag right now.
In that bag?
No. I mean, yes, it's a child, but it's not mine. It's not your job.
It smells like body spray in an old ham sandwich.
All right.
Right?
Oh.
So
and there's a stinger. Oh, okay. He went full on Dr.
full
Robotnik.
Robotnik, yeah.
Yeah.
So I am 100% going to see that in the theater.
Yeah, I'm
With friends. Uh-huh. That is going to be really good. That's going to be that is high art, that trailer.
I don't know if they're
It's high art. You can't convince me otherwise.
I don't know if they're supposed to be serious or if they're sort of taking the piss out of themselves or some combination thereof.
I think it's somehow both, and they've managed to achieve cinematic nirvana with this film.
I think you really need to pump the brakes on the high praise over there, Ryan, because what I just saw. Okay, I'm on board in the way that I'm on board with a Mystery Science Theater 3000 movie, or I'm on board the way I am when I watch my literal favorite movie of all time, which is Big Trouble in Little China.
Yeah.
I watch that because it is just so bad that it's so good. And I'm really hoping it hits that level. There's a very fine line between taking yourself totally seriously and knowing that you are just asinine.
Yeah.
And then taking yourself totally seriously and not realizing just what you've done dumpster fire of a situation you've put together is. But you throw, what's his name? I want to say James
Marsden. You got it.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
I thought I always think it's James Marsden, and then I think no, that's James Marsden. Oh, that was the Red Dead guy. But you have James Marsden.
Well, he's also he was in Westworld, of course, too, or is in Westworld.
Yeah, I didn't watch this. I got 2 episodes into the second season.
Well, anyway,
decided
you've
it wasn't
seen
for
him.
me.
He's in it.
Yeah. Anyway, you have James Marsden, Jim Carrey. That's great. Who was the voice of Sonic?
I forget the gentleman's name.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I think he's done various cartoon voice stuff before.
Yeah.
I just can't remember the actor's name.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, this is the first all-out Jim Carrey performance like this in a long time.
The Mask?
Long time.
Was Pet Detective 2 after The Mask or before The Mask?
Oh, that was after.
After The Mask. Okay.
No, I mean, he did Dumb and Dumber 2, which broke my heart because it was terrible. Mm-hmm. He and Jeff Daniels were... there's something about that movie. It felt like they were doing impressions of themselves doing the characters.
Too far removed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway, and then Jim Carrey did the wasn't it the Lemony Snicket movie, I think.
Yeah.
So he was pretty over the top in that, but this is so it's been a while though.
God, I forgot that was a movie before NPH took over the villain role in the TV show.
That's Neil Patrick Harris for those of you.
We acronym. We go way back.
You go way back. Yeah. Anyway, video games. So we've got Sonic
now
the
that the Sonic cast is over. Also, that face is just haunting. But here's the thing: is all the shit everyone was talking about it this morning. It's not as bad as I thought it was going to be. It actually seems a little self-aware and kind of fun.
Yeah, I just think it is. It's occupying. That trailer occupies some weird space between. I'm not saying it's good, but it's also just not.
Well, don't say it's good.
It's like this weird cheese nirvana that it seems
cheese
to
ball.
have.
It's cheese ball.
All right.
Yeah.
And I want to see that movie.
Yeah.
I want to see what 80 or 90 minutes of that is.
Well, I mean, do you?
I do.
Here's the thing: it's one of those. I bet it's one of those movies where 2 minutes is really all the good stuff.
And you're right. Maybe you just have to be hammered. I don't know.
Maybe, yeah. I don't know.
Don't drink and drive.
Don't drink and watch Sonic. Or maybe you have to. Maybe that's a prerequisite. You have to hit a breathalyzer before you go into the movie. Here's my problem: is I know already from watching the trailer that it's going to be one of those movies. It's going to try to have a heart,
Oh, of course.
where Sonic's going to overcome, and they're going to realize that the power was friendship inside us all along. And then at that point, it's going to lose its on the nose edge. And I'm just going to be like, well, that's not a fun experience.
Remember, kids are probably going to love it and have a great time with it, and not a cynical old.
I don't know, though. It seemed like that was aimed toward a more mature audience.
I don't know.
The end of the trailer ended with a kidnapping gag, a child abduction joke at the end of the trailer. So, like, I feel like they're gauging toward the nostalgia, cynical old farts like us in our 30s.
So there you go, Sonic the Hedgehog, coming soon, along with.
Man, aren't you guys glad you tuned in today?
Yeah. And then finally, before we get to the news proper, a quick apology. Last week, I left out in the backwards compatibility Xbox One X enhancement portion of the show. Mm-hmm. I somehow left out Ninja Gaiden 2.
One of the most requested games.
And would have fit right in last week when I was talking about how they were all made for me. They were all done for all the Splinter Cells. Mm-hmm. And I forget what the other couple games were.
I thought you mentioned it, but yeah.
Ninja Gaiden 2.
It sort of headlined that whole wave.
Yeah.
And CJ, who is one of the producers here and all-around great guy.
Yes.
Used to be, I don't know if this is the right term, but
player.
Professional?
Competitive, we can say that.
I think he's won money.
Has he won money?
I think he's
that
won
makes him
money.
A professional.
Yeah. He played Ninja Gaiden competitively at a incredibly high level, if not the best in the world at one point, like in the top 2 or 3 at one point.
Yeah.
So he was just vibrating the entire day after that announcement dropped.
And Ninja Gaiden 2, is it as good as Ninja Gaiden 1 / Ninja Gaiden Black? No, nothing is. But 2 is really good.
Yeah.
It's excellent. Very worth playing. I reviewed it for OXM way back in the day, and it's outstanding. It's just great weapons, great action. So give it a look if you never played it. All right, let's move on to the news. Games with Gold for May. Kicking us off
right here on the Blaze.
Yeah. You're listening to the Blaze.
Yeah, fortunately the
4:20 a.m. on your dial.
Man, wow. It just writes itself. What's up, Sun Devils, if you're just waking up or haven't been to bed yet?
AM 420, FM 69.69.
Home of nice. Fortunately, to pull us out of this nosedive, Games with Gold was announced this week.
Yes, what have we got?
So this week, this month, again, very early morning for me.
It's 11:30 a.m.
No, I was up early. Low energy. I'm pumped up. I'm trying to bring it.
You got to go full Bane. Just turn up the dial on your juice.
Marunas on Xbox One.
Bane. Batman villain Bane hulks out on.
That was my Bane.
That was it?
That was my Bane.
That was it?
The Marunas are on Xbox One. No? Is that this is a little Deckard Cain, isn't it?
Stay a while and listen.
I'll break you, Batman. All right, Marooners is out as part of the Games with Gold on Xbox One all month long, May 1st to May 31st.
Brother.
In addition, the Golf Club 2019 featuring PGA Tour is coming to your Xbox One from May 16th through June 15th, so second half of the month.
Yeah.
EDF, also known as Earth Defense Force Insect Armageddon.
Talk about cheese. This is intentional video game cheese.
Oh, this is
EDF series.
Yes, this is the Sonic the movie of video games. It's coming to your Xbox 360 and Xbox One via backward compatibility.
Shout out to Jared Petty, who loves this series.
Yeah, he really does. He does. I asked him once, I was like, why do you like it? He goes, you get to destroy big bugs. What's more to want? It's like, okay, that makes sense. That's coming first half of this month, May 1st to May 15th.
Yes. And
then Comic Jumper, a little-known platforming action game made by Twisted Pixel.
That's right. It was in the part of that was when they were just on fire. The studio was just everything they touched turned to gold.
It was Splosion Man, then Miss Splosion Man.
I mean, they kicked it off. Their first game was not as like universally beloved. I loved it, but The Maw.
Yeah, I remember The Maw.
Yeah, The Maw, and then I think Splosion Man might have been next.
And then,
anyway, I don't remember the chronology, but
and then there was they did the Pac-Man thing. I think Missplosion Man was after, so it was a little better than the first. They elaborated on stuff similar to the way Pac-Man and Miss Pac-Man worked. And then it was Comic Jumper, and then I know there's one in between there. I want to say there was something with like a barbarian, but eventually they went on to make that motorcycle game, the Sentient Motorcycle, which was
Loco Cycle.
Fine.
No, it wasn't.
It was fine.
And then Microsoft parted ways with them.
They did.
And they've been making actually a couple cool VR games.
Oh, are they in the VR space now?
Yes, they've been working with Oculus as an Oculus first party studio.
Interesting. Okay.
They did crap. Now I can't remember the name.
First party?
Yeah,
or
like
second party?
Oculus published. So a first party Oculus game.
Oh, okay. All right.
You know what I mean?
I see what you mean. Yeah.
Published by Oculus,
but they're not
funded by Oculus.
They're not owned by Oculus.
No.
Right. Okay.
No, it was dang it, can't remember the name of the game. It's a black and white first person like Hitchcockian
Swan
horror game. And it was pretty cool.
A Hitchcock horror
someone's
game. Interesting.
Someone's going to tweet it at me. I'm going to look it up so that people don't have to tweet at me, but Comic Jumper is I think the highlight.
Yeah, it's a really fun action, like sort of I don't know if you want to call it Contra style or something, but it's comic book-esque where the game takes place in a series of like panels and all of the cutscenes are in comic book panels, and it's also self-aware. There's a wisecracking sidekick, and it's a lot of fun.
Wilson's Heart. Wilson's Heart.
I do remember
their
that.
VR game,
Yeah.
and they're working on a new game which is like a James Bond spy VR game. First person.
Oh, that's cool.
Called Defector, which I have played, and the bit I played was really fun.
We're gonna get a lot of those coming out.
Yeah, I was the demo level I played. You're on a plane, and you have to work your way through.
It's like
shoot your way through, and then like do a conversation based kind of RPG sit down moment with the bad guy where you have to know what to say. Like you have to. It's a word puzzle basically.
I see. Okay.
And then you jump out of the plane, and it was fun. I can't wait to play more.
Parachute to safety, martini in hand.
No, you actually jump to another plane.
Of course. So it's more Mission Impossible.
Kind of.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, Comic Jumper out on Xbox 360 and Xbox One via backward compatibility again. Second half of this month through the end of the month, May 16th to May 31st. I think Ryan's right. Comic Jumper is probably the highlight of this.
I'm the only one here.
Yeah.
You can just say you.
Oh, that's right. That's so weird. We don't have to clarify anymore.
You don't have to refer to me in third person. You can switch to second person.
That's true, Ryan. Ryan had a good point for the rest of the episode. Anyway, so there you go. There's your Games with Gold this month. That segment went on a little long, but
right. Take us right to the Game Pass. What's being added for Game Pass subscribers this month?
That's right. So this month, or this coming month, May, is actually really good for Game Pass. A lot of cool little titles coming. First and foremost, and probably the marquee one headlining this whole shebang is Wolfenstein 2, The New Colossus, is coming May 2nd.
I still haven't finished it. I'm literally like halfway through that game, but it's really good.
Yeah, I haven't started it. It's one of those games that I've been sitting on for a while. Just so much else going on all the coverage from last year, like it's one of those games where I'm like, oh, I'm definitely going to play this. It's just a matter of when.
Yeah.
And it looks like holding out might have been a good move because now I just get to play it for free on Game Pass.
Bam.
In addition to that, a cool tactical, what would you call it? Turn-based tactics fighter-esque game called Wargroove. You may recognize it because it recently came out on Switch not too long ago. I think Tom Marks reviewed it and loved it. So if you're into, what would you compare it to? Something like ActRaiser?
Maybe. I don't know.
Yeah. If you're into those kind of like old JRPG-esque turn-based tactic games, Wargroove is a pretty cool get. They don't make too many of them like them anymore. Anyway, not even following week, 5 days later, a cool little game called For the King is coming to Xbox Game Pass.
Straight in, too.
Yeah, straight in on May 7th, ahead of its release date on May 10th, which is interesting. For the King looks like a really pretty procedurally generated sort of fantasy RPG kind of game.
Speaking my language, right?
Yeah, and I've been on this really big roguelike kick these days. I'm talking Slay the Spire, Battle Brothers to some extent, but Darkest Dungeon, Heatsink, Into the Breach, went back to FTL as well. So all these cool little roguelike games have got me wanting the taste of it again. And For the King looks like it'll be right up my alley. But also on May 7th, you're going to get Surviving Mars.
It's got some crafting bits in it.
Yeah, it's like it's a survival crafting kind of game.
Yeah, that's a turnoff for me.
Is it really?
As soon as you say crafting, I'm out.
Tacoma, which I know you loved.
Yes, very much. That is from, of course, the makers of Gone Home.
Mm-hmm. And then Black Desert.
Yeah, MMO.
Yeah,
it's an MMO. Go play it. It's a very, very pretty MMO.
It is. It's really gorgeous. Yeah, and it's actually kind of interesting because Xbox Live now has 2 or 3 or maybe even 4 full-fledged MMOs on it, which is not something I would ever thought I would find myself saying 10 years ago.
I know. Yeah, finally happened.
Cool. And then on May 16th, you have The Surge, which is a cool, I know it's super popular to say Dark Souls-esque kind of game, but it really is. I played the heck out of it and really liked it. I don't think I reviewed it. I think JR reviewed it, but it is good. It's sort of bare bonesy, but there's some cool combat elements in that that elevates it a little bit above just your standard sort of third-person lock-on action game. And then, of course, Lego Batman 3 is coming as well.
Guaranteed family good times right there.
Yep.
Any of the Traveler's Tales Lego games, guaranteed to be fun for the family.
Yeah.
They might not be game of the year, but they're literally always good.
Oh, and I loved them. I mean, the sense of humor in them is what I kind of like.
Yeah,
they're, for us, like they're super easy, right? But they're really fun to play with family members or friends. And I played, I think, Lord of the Rings with my little cousin, and had just a great time.
Yeah, good stuff. All right, moving forward. If you are a Kansas City Chiefs fan, I advise you to plug your ears or turn off the show now because your 2019 NFL season is already in jeopardy.
Oh, man.
Patrick Mahomes, your MVP quarterback, rising star, had an unbelievable year last year.
Yeah.
He is about to be stricken with some horrific season-ending mishap.
All right, before we get too far, Patrick Mahomes will be your cover athlete for Madden 20.
For Madden Curse.
It's not real. Actually, it might be real. Who was it? It was Antonio Brown last year?
I don't remember.
Was that 19 or 18? Anyway, yeah, there could be something to it.
There has been over the years.
Yeah, who was it? Was it?
I believe Vic kicked it off.
Oh yeah.
No. Sorry, no. It went back further than him. But it's been a while. It's been a thing for quite a while.
Brady was on the cover once. And I don't think he
didn't die.
I don't think he's had a bad year. He's had not great years.
The 1 year where he blew out his knee on that tackle in like week 1 or something. That was it.
He Garoppolo'd. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I, being a huge NFL fan, wish him the best. My San Francisco 49ers.
Put him in bubble wrap.
My San Francisco 49ers only play the Chiefs in preseason, so I don't really care if the dude continues to throw for 400 yards this year.
It won't affect you.
Yeah.
Unless you meet in the Super Bowl.
Oh, that's a great point too. No, I don't wish. Look, God, those guys, their entire careers, their body. So I really hope he does not succumb to the curse and tear an ACL in week 2.
Yeah, we want him to play well. The league is better off with him in it. And active.
If you're a Raiders fan, though, it might be a different story because you guys share a division. I don't know, man. Kansas City puts up 40 points no matter what, so we'll see.
The last year of the Oakland Raiders before they
go to Vegas.
When I went to DICE for the DICE Summit, and that's where I did like the Amy Hennig interview. I was staying at the Aria Hotel, and it's almost right across the freeway. I could just up a little ways. I could see it out my hotel room window. They
broke ground already.
They've got like the skeleton basically of the football stadium there.
I saw a artist rendering, or how the architect or the architect firm like makes this is what it'll look like when it's done. That thing looks like it 100% belongs in Las Vegas.
Oh yeah,
it just lights and it is a symphony of a building.
Yeah, there's some the one that.
They're making it in Compton?
The LA one.
Is it Compton or Crenshaw?
Can't remember.
I don't know.
Just one of the LA suburbs.
Yeah, it looks.
Wasn't it not far from
like a
the old
monstrosity.
Lakers arena somewhere over that way?
Oh, the Staples Center?
No, the old one.
Oh, I don't
Forum.
know. I don't know.
I think it's somewhere over near the Forum. But anyway, yeah, the renderings for that look crazy.
Yeah, it's got like a reflection pool in the front of it or something.
And I think it's all glass or something, or at least the outside of it.
It might be the most, because Levi Stadium in Santa Clara, where the Niners play, was at, I believe, the time it was built, the most expensive stadium.
Yeah, no, I know this.
And I think both LA and Vegas are going to be more expensive.
I think they're both north of $2 billion, I believe, which is just unbelievable.
It's like that. It's like in the UAE. It's the race to see who has the tallest building.
Yeah, you're exactly right. You're totally right. That's a good analogy. Anyway,
sorry, football talk.
Just real quick, some actual Madden news here. So Mahomes inspired and contributed to the face of the franchise, QB1, a new personalized career campaign that lets fans create their own college quarterback who plays through the College Football National Championship playoff, the NFL Combine, the draft, and then a career as a starting quarterback for an NFL team. This sounds like a fun mode. This mode introduces a new scenario engine that generates unique playable scenarios, events, and dynamic challenges that creates the story of each fan's NFL career. That is a mode I would 100% play. That sounds cool.
I mean, it seems like career mode sort of taken to the next natural conclusion of it, right? Which it makes... Okay, I might be misremembering this. That happens quite often. But I believe NCAA and Madden one year had a thing where you can take your quarterback from NCAA and transport it into Madden.
Yeah, I think that
before EA lost the NCAA license. But it makes me wonder now, if you're playing through the College Football National Championship, how are you going to get the rights to those schools? Or it'll just be like...
Oh, that's actually a great point. I hadn't even thought about that.
Instead, like Clemson, it'll be something else, but their logo will be a tiger or whatever.
Yeah, maybe that's a great point.
Alabama will be just a little wave of red.
Yeah, EA very quietly walked away from all of their NCAA products after the Ed O'Bannon lawsuit.
Yeah.
So... yeah,
I don't know how it's going to happen. It'll probably be the Red Rangers versus the Blue. How they do that.
Yeah, and then another new feature, Superstar X Factor, aims to bring NFL stars to life, demonstrating their unique abilities. Quote, the team this year wanted to ensure that the superstars of the NFL responded and played differently in all aspects of Madden, just as they do on the field every Sunday. We wanted to make sure the stars felt like stars, said executive producer Sean Grady. New player celebrations, run-pass option plays, that would be RPOs in football nomenclature.
Boom.
Nailed it. And unique playbooks are also coming for Madden NFL 20. So sounds like good stuff. Madden's been solid, been excellent every year. And we are coming up, Brandon, on my favorite time for sports video games, which is console
NASCAR.
Generational shifts.
Oh, yes.
Because that's the one time where we really... it seems to me historically it's been we get like a major technical leap in our sports games at console generational shifts, and then they spend basically the rest of the generation just refining,
iterating
from there. And so technically I guess gameplay-wise, now is kind of the best time for pretty much all the sports. I mean, MLB The Show is great this year. Madden's been good. FIFA. They're pretty much all like great games right now.
Yeah, from what I understand, they're consistently just rock solid, and you can kind of say like, well, okay, so what are they doing different? Like they're not taking chances anymore, right? So what do you do differently? How do you elevate that series then without sort of risking the mold of what works?
Yeah, I mean we've seen. I guess it was 2 or 3 years ago now the single player campaigns that EA introduced, the long shot.
The long shot, yeah.
And then whatever, I forget what it was called in FIFA, where you played, there was a whole...
right. It was
called something else, but...
Was that the one directed by Spike Lee, or was that the long shot?
I don't remember. Okay. But they're both excellent. They're like actual single player campaigns with cinematics and good stories.
It was like a varsity, or at least Madden was like a Varsity Blues-esque sort of.
Exactly. So that's been a cool innovation we've seen this generation. But yeah, I'm definitely going to be excited for, I guess it's going to be, well, maybe next year's Madden, probably not. because Madden comes out. Actually, that's the other part of the story that's now ties into my point, is that Madden is out August 2nd, which is it's always been August, but never the beginning of August. That's like that's training camp.
Yeah.
It's not even preseason.
Yeah, that's sort of a week after most teams go into training camp.
Yeah, like
it's the last week of July.
/training camp.
That's interesting. And I wonder, I imagine it has less to do with football and more to do with just the landscape of the video game industry has changed to the degree that there is no, okay, it's really popular in February, and then it goes kind of quiet, and then it kicks up again around August, and then it really kicks in October, and then you have the holiday just mad rush in November. That's gone. Like,
that's true.
There are no sort of dead times anymore, except for June.
July, I would argue, is still pretty quiet.
Is still pretty quiet just because of E3.
Yeah.
So yeah, I wonder if they're coming in because Madden is. It seems like a safe bet. Safe bet. Madden consistently sells. Mm-hmm. They don't really need to market it more than they already do, and they don't need to compete against other people because if you like football and you like Madden and you buy it one year and you buy it the next year, you're probably going to buy it a third year. So just putting it out there where it doesn't have to compete against anything else, kind of the best thing you can do for it.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, with the 360, this is if memory serves. I know the audience will correct me very politely, I'm sure.
But
I think Madden got, because the 360 came out in November, late November 22nd, 2005.
Oh, really? Wow. Ryan, when's your anniversary?
What? My what?
Exactly.
I thought there was didn't they do a Madden at 360 launch that, obviously came out a few months after the original Xbox version did?
I don't even know, man.
So 2 Maddens on 2 different consoles in 1 year. But
that would make sense. I think I was actually working at EA at that time. And I do remember there were SKUs for a bunch of games that were split.
Yeah. My point being that I wonder if next year there will be a Madden on Scarlet or not, is what I'm trying to say. Or if we're going to have to wait till the following year.
I'm sure there will be. And I'm hesitant to say that it'll be a version of the game fully developed for that console, but I'm sure it'll be like the Madden for the Xbox One, but now with all this new RAM, AI is even better. Hits are more brutal and realistic.
Yeah.
But I don't think. I mean, maybe, who knows? The dev kits have already gone out. I'm sure developers are developing for new hardware already. What I don't want to see with that franchise, which always happens, invariably, is that you begin developing for new hardware and then just scale it back for the old hardware.
Well, you only have so many resources,
it's
right?
True.
You've got
it's true.
So, but you're right. The last gen, once the new generation's out, the last gen tends to get fewer resources and kind of coasts on autopilot for a bit before eventually fading off and then 100% of the resources go to the new gen.
Which, I don't think EA really has any place to. I mean, what do I know, right? Like it's their company, but FIFA Ultimate Team and Madden, like FIFA and Madden are what makes money for that company, right? Like they are their everything for the sake of those franchises. So I think if you have any resources or any question about where to put resources, they go on those 2 franchises.
That's true. Yeah. So we'll be keeping an eye on all things Madden, particularly both this year and next. Some good stuff on tap for this year's game. Real quick, BlizzCon coming back to Anaheim November 1st and 2nd. You've been to previous years.
Many times. Many times. I am a big fan of Blizzard's games.
And the reason that I mention this is because, of course, I love Diablo 3 Ultimate Evil Edition on Xbox One. It's just a tremendous release. It is the polished. I mean, they've even refined it since then with Rise of the Necromancer and a couple other releases, big updates. But
what happened last year?
Yeah, last year it didn't end so well for Blizzard. With the whole Diablo mobile game. So the reason I mentioned that BlizzCon will take place on November 1st and 2nd is because that means Diablo 4 will be getting announced on
don't
November
say that.
1st
don't
or 2nd.
Say that.
Because they can't. They have to write. They know they can't let this hang over their heads again.
I don't know, dude.
They're going to have a proper announcement Again, this is me speculating. Yeah. This is not me knowing or revealing.
This isn't gospel, but I don't know.
You're not with me on this, huh?
I don't think I'm with you.
No,
I don't.
Huh? You think they're going to let it go another year? And
man, I've spent so many years saying this is the year, and then I finally had the epiphany that Blizzard doesn't care. Like they don't need to do anything outside of what's good for Blizzard.
Oh, but they lost. Blizzard's been historically one of the developers with, I would argue, the most continuous and overall goodwill from their community. People love them, is what I'm trying to say. And they did not love that. People did not love them after that Diablo thing.
Yeah.
So
I mean, and rightfully so. Here's the problem. It was less about the fact that Diablo 4 wasn't announced and more about the fact that they didn't message that very well at all.
Exactly.
It was all a failure of just managing expectations.
Yes. And that's why I think people are now expecting Diablo 4 to be properly announced. I don't even know. It might be the teaseriest of teaser trailers, but I think we get a proper official confirmation of Diablo 4 or whatever its actual name is going to be at this BlizzCon.
Maybe. I don't know. I mean, even as late as last year, I think they were still hiring for that project.
But I mean, you saw Jason Schreier's story after the fact when they were thinking about announcing it then, and then they didn't at the last minute, and then we were left with that whole messaging.
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't think everyone wants to avoid a Metroid Prime situation, right? Where the announcement of your game is a logo that fades in and out over this course of 6 seconds. That's never a good way to announce a game. It's a great way to tell your fans, hey, we're still thinking about this and we're actively working on stuff for you. I feel like if you announce Diablo 4 at this point, like you got to go big, right? You got to go, this is, especially coming off like Diablo 3's initially shaky launch, which has, slowly.
That's way in the rearview mirror now.
Yeah. But think about the last time they announced a Diablo game, Diablo Immortal. Think about the time before that, Diablo 3. Like these launches have never gone very well, or
Diablo
announcements.
3's announcement didn't go badly. Its
You're right,
launch went bad.
Its launch went badly. But think about, those moments in the Diablo franchise. Diablo 3 was not a great game when it first started, and it slowly evolved into probably one of the best ARPGs ever made.
Absolutely.
I feel safe saying, having put 600 hours into Reaper of Souls since. So I think if you announce a D4, like you have to announce it and you have to say this is why it's new and different, and this is why you've been waiting, kind of thing. I don't think you can just like have not even death can save from me, and then 4 scratch marks go down the screen. Like I don't think that works.
I think you just made the trailer.
But what do I know? I mean,
all right. Well, I would bet you lunch that it's somewhat. Whether in some capacity,
I'll take that bet.
Diablo 4 will be announced at BlizzCon.
I'll take that bet. In and out?
Yeah.
Number 1?
Well,
double with fries and a drink?
Yeah.
Okay. We'll do it.
Done.
Okay.
Okay, because either way, we get to go to In-N-Out.
Yeah.
Even if I lose, I win.
It's win-lose.
Yeah. All right.
Win-win.
Finally this week, March's NPD sales figures have been released. And, these are always fun, but more than ever nowadays, we have to add the context that NPD is just not a complete picture of sales, with everything going so much more digital and the first parties selling so much through their own storefronts, Sony and Microsoft and Nintendo.
So put it in context for them, what NPD actually
So it's
tracks.
Mostly retail sales.
Yes.
Right? So there are some digitals that report into this.
Right, but not all.
Yeah, so consider it kind of a snapshot, like a sample size that is a reasonable approximation of the overall sales positioning and sales metrics of the games industry on a month-by-month basis. So for March, we have at number 1, Tom Clancy's The Division Part 2.
Part 2?
Yes. Just like...
It's the best-selling game across all platforms.
Yeah. The 6th largest launch month ever for Ubisoft, which is pretty good considering... they do fall launches for Assassin's Creed games, and their Rainbow Six Siege had a big launch. I'm sure that's probably one of the 6. But good stuff for The Division 2. And hey, well deserved. They really quietly just went about their business, and they built the first division up to 1.8 really is where things seem to really get great for that game, and then they carried that. Again, they didn't get the hype that Anthem got, but they came right along, and they, as James Duggan was in here talking about when the game came out, Division 2 is just a rock solid shared world shooter.
Yeah,
and did good.
I have just such an affinity for Ubisoft. And if you listen to Podcasts Unlocked, you're probably sick of me talking about Ubisoft in the regard of, I think they're probably, of the big four, the most exciting publisher going right now.
Well, they take the most, I would argue they take the most creative risks. And so I would agree with you.
100%. I mean, I don't think any other publisher, EA's kind of been dipping into it with their Originals program, but that's more sourcing other developers, whereas like Ubisoft's Reflection Studio makes cool little things that like grow home or grow up that you'd never expect a big publisher to like take a chance on.
Yes.
But in addition to that, not only do they cover, there is some open world fatigue for sure, but not only do they cover the big bombastic open world games, they also support their games post-launch in a way that few other publishers ever do. When For Honor launched, it was not competitively, it was not a great place. Same with Siege, right? It was fine, but it wasn't what it is today. They really have stepped up and shown that, if something doesn't work, they'll burn it to the ground and rebuild.
Yep.
And it creates a better sort of not only game, but a community around it as well.
Yeah, totally. Rounding it up, so that was the top seller, and then we had Sekiro, Shadows Die Twice, well-deserved.
Sekiro.
Thank you. MLB 19, the show, love it. Not an Xbox game, but hey, glad it's the only simulation MLB game that exists. RBI Baseball is not a sim, so I'm very glad to see it do well, so that Sony hopefully continues to make it.
Oh my God, what was the Xbox baseball game that just came out on for like arcade style?
RBI Baseball.
No, it was something else. Super Mega Baseball.
Oh, the unlicensed.
Yeah. Super Mega Baseball 2, I would argue, is the best simulation baseball game.
You're fired from this show. Get out of here.
You can't fire me.
I literally I actually, in fact, could do that.
I'd want to see some. I'd want to see some paperwork.
Don't
on this.
push me because I'm close to the edge.
Well done. Lovely reference.
Anyway.
Super Mega Baseball 2 was a lot of fun on Xbox. So if you're looking for a baseball game that isn't the show, check that out.
Yeah, you can almost murder the pitcher with a comebacker in that game. I've watched you do it.
Yeah, I tweeted about it.
So yeah, good to see MLB The Show doing well again. And then Devil May Cry 5 as well. And then Kingdom Hearts 3 is number 5, now the best-selling game of the year so far, as well as the best-selling game in series history. The one before that was not 2, but 1. 1 actually outsold 2. Mm-hmm. And then for the year, it goes Kingdom Hearts, The Division 2, Anthem, RE2 Remake, and Red Dead 2, which obviously came out last year.
Yeah, and somewhere down that list is GTA 5.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Look for Mortal Kombat 11 to probably
crush everything.
Most all of them in April, even though it came out at the end of April. That game is a juggernaut, and it's excellent. You heard Destin talk about it last week. So that's your sneak preview for the April NPDs. So there you go. All right, so we're running a little short on time.
God, did we do a full show?
Yeah, we're at 40. Yeah, we're past 45 minutes. We're doing good.
Yeah, it was just going to be a quick one because it was just us, and here we are.
Do you want the loot box without your competitors here, or rather the
competitors
unlock block trivia, or do you want to take the gentlemanly route and wait for them to return next week?
I mean,
it's up to you.
We only have time for one.
Yeah, we could probably do one or the other.
Let's just do the loot box.
Oh, the loot box. All right. Well, we have Colin from Albany, New York writes in. This is a good question, I think. He says, if you had to give the current generation of consoles, which were kind of talking about with the sports conversation earlier, if you had to give the current generation of consoles a definitive characteristic, what would it be? For example, he says, I might consider the last generation, meaning the 360 generation, the online generation.
This is a great question. Yeah. We've talked about this before on the show as well.
So he says first off he kind of nominates this generation as the games as a service, the GAS generation. And then also he suggests maybe secondarily to that the remaster generation. So where are you leaning on this? You think either of those, or does something else come to mind, or a defining trait?
I don't know that I would necessarily consider this the remaster re-release generation. I think
the first part of it was for sure. It was almost disgusting.
You could
in the
say
first
the
couple of
same for
years
a lot of generations, though, right?
No.
Yeah.
It was taken to a whole.
Sure, there was an
level.
art in it. Yeah. Okay.
No, I'm not talking. That wasn't a compliment.
Oh,
I'm not
see.
talking about like Resident Evil 2. In the first 2-ish years of the Xbox One generation, there were so many remakes and remasters.
Yeah, but half of them are Capcom, so
That is true. Whereas the last generation, the 360 generation, we've talked about this a million times, Capcom was delivering a ton of amazing original content.
I don't know, man.
And not pooping out remasters.
it's super easy to look in the past, and with rose-tinted glasses. I think, I don't know. I feel like this practice happens a lot. I bought a number of remastered games on my PS3. I know that. Sorry, I'm moving around. This generation, so I've thought about this. I agree. I think the Xbox 360 and the PS3 sort of ushered in not only the standardized HD sort of benchmark, but also the online integration as well.
Yes.
Xbox Live, that's where it came into its own. Same with PSN. For this generation, that's a great question. By the end of it, I'm looking at it as sort of probably games as service, or I'm trying to think of like what did the consoles bring to the generation rather than what did developers sort of like.
Well, yeah, you don't
hone in
necessarily have to look at it that way. So for me, I would say I would actually take Colin's answer and just tweak it a tad. I think this is the service generation. Whereas not just the games as a service,
pretty all-encompassing,
but
yeah.
Game Pass.
Yep.
Huge. I think Game Pass itself will, with 5 years of hindsight,
yes.
we get into the Scarlet generation, will be looked back on as a definitive high point of this generation across PS4 and Xbox One. I know it's unfortunate that Sony hasn't brought anything similar quite yet. They will. They have to.
I mean,
I think the service generation.
I think that's good too. I think I'd probably define it a little differently and call it the economy generation, or like sort of the infrastructure generation, where they are building. You don't see each sort of developer, each first party is putting more bricks on the wall around their garden. Does that make sense? Like they are making it more enticing to stay within. Get off my lawn unless you're paying me. Exactly. So yeah, I would call it I like that. I think the economy or the service generation.
Cynically, I know there are probably listeners out there right now yelling at their whatever device they're listening to, yelling at us going, it's the microtransaction generation. And you know what? You wouldn't be wrong.
Yeah,
you wouldn't be wrong
at all.
But I think I'm going to take a slightly more optimistic look. I think, just the
focus on the
services.
positive.
So yes, games as a service. Yeah. Certainly the loot shooters and the just general games. Everything's a game as a service. Everything has a long tail. But the consoles themselves too, with the likes of Game Pass and now.
I like that actually. Yeah. I mean, I think that service as a word is a nice umbrella because microtransactions play directly into it. Yeah. Part of a service is finding ways to continue to monetize these games that you play. So yeah, I like that. We'll call this the service generation.
We did it. Good stuff, Colin in Albany, New York.
Thank you for that question.
We'll get back to the Unlock Block trivia next week when we've got a full complement of participants.
Do I get 3 answers since I'm the only one here?
Sure, why not?
Okay.
I make the rules. I do whatever I
A,
want.
B, and D.
Yeah.
Watch it
you get it wrong. That'd be great.
Win.
I do still need I always need good trivia questions, though. If you do want to send anything in, it's unlocked@ign.com. Send in your trivia question with 4 multiple choice answers in your email and note the correct one. Same thing, and then with the loot box, just send in whatever question you'd like to pose to us for the loot box section. All right, time to roll. I'm Ryan McCaffrey. You can find me on Twitter at DMC_Ryan. New Unfiltered next week. So you'll see who the guest is there. It is a developer with Xbox ties, not just Xbox. They've had an interesting history, to say the least. But listen for that next week. I'll try to remember next week to just Trojan horse it into the end of next week's episode again.
Another 3-hour episode.
Why not?
Yeah, I like
it's my
it.
show. I do whatever I want.
Dude, I'm not criticizing. Take full advantage of your platform. Just put it out on Twitter. Hey, I'm Brandon Tyrell. You can find me on Twitter at Brandon Tyrell. And thank you very much for tuning in.
Fantastic, my friends. We will see you all next week.